this issue is very evident in Arab men as well, this lack of independency, especially like Arab men and their mothers.
The reason that they are so afraid of what others are going to say is because they know what it feels like and what it's like to be on the judging end, and they know how hard they go in, and they know all the bits they point out. Let's move on to the second part of the question that we asked Amina, which was, what part of our culture would you not want to pass down? Do you want to go ahead and answer this?
I mean, actually, there's a lot. The thing that Amina's answer was kind of hitting the nail on the head about how she said how a woman can be seen lesser than a man. It's not something in her family per se, but it's something that she has seen through the culture. I definitely agree with that. But I have a few others that I would not want to pass down as well. And one of them is this lack, I feel like maybe it contradicts what I said about wanting to pass down, but everything is a fine line. Nothing is black and white. It's all spectrums of gray. But this lack of independence that parents give their Arab children, I feel like is such a thing. Like I wanted to work at a young age, and I wanted to make my own money, and I wanted to be independent, but there was no need for me to work because my dad was like paying for everything. I even wanted to work at Bath and Body Works when I was like maybe 14 or 13, actually younger, when I was maybe like 12, and they told me I had to wait till I was 23. This was in Dubai at the time, which is an Arab country, of course, because like 14 is too young. And like in my first year of uni, I bought a bike and I loved biking, and I wanted to start working in Deliveroo, which is basically like you deliver food on a bike. And I was telling my dad about this in first year, and he was like, why are we not giving you enough money? Like, do you need something and you're not telling us? And I was thinking like, I just want to...
First year of uni, by the way.
Yeah, first year of uni. Thank you for finishing my sentences.
Of course, anytime.
But I was thinking, no, like I actually just want to be independent. Why is this such a foreign concept that like someone who's still in uni or someone who's still in school wants to be independent? And this issue is very evident. And this issue is very evident in Arab men as well, this lack of independency, especially like Arab men and their mothers, like, or Arab boys and their mothers. I feel like there's
no tea, no shade.
No tea, no shade. Like, honestly, 95% of the population. Again, don't quote me on that statistic.
But, oh my god, girl, you're gonna get called to Mocktail soon.
Yeah, but I'm saying don't quote me, so that you should put this in the legal documents when you take us to court. But anyways, with Arab guys and Arab women, but like mainly guys, you see like they're not able to carry or to... Oh my god, why am I thinking in Arabic? يبقوا قد المسؤولية.
Like hold responsibility.
Yeah, they're not able to hold responsibility because this is generally speaking, again, don't come for us, but they're not able to hold responsibility because they've been spoon-fed everything, because we're such a collectivist culture, again, going back to the things that we do love about our culture, because we're such a collectivist culture, and there's obviously a lot of benefits to that, the downfall is this over-relying on each other for things that we should be able to do ourselves. So I would not want to pass this down to my kids because I would want them to feel like they have their own independence, I think.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, that's also seen, like you're saying, guys don't come for us. But this is very much seen even when we look at tradition in Arab culture. And I mean, maybe less so nowadays, but not that long ago, people were still wanting to marry people who would basically be like their mothers, that are going to cook and clean for them and stay at home. And some people still want that, and that's good for them. But as long as it's healthy.
Yeah, and a lot of people still want that because they don't know how to do things by themselves. A lot of men still want
that's
that.
part of their criteria. Like they want that wife that's gonna be like their mum.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, it's not something that was present in my immediate family, but it's something that I've seen very much in the culture.
You were able to work when you were quite young, like in your teen years.
So basically, in England, everyone has like weekend jobs when they're 16. And my dad, obviously being Syrian, he was a bit confused at the time, like, why are you gonna get a job like you're 16? Like, we're the parents. It just isn't something that's in Arab culture at all. But it's something that's so in British culture. That he was a bit confused at first, but when he got to understand that, like, I mean, the reason that a lot of 16-year-olds here would have jobs is because it helps with university applications and things like that. It was something that thankfully he's like very cool with. That's why I say like it's not been something that I've experienced directly, but I know is in the culture. That idea of like I think from my dad's point of view, it was more he was worried that having a job would take away from my studies. That was mainly his point of view and his worry of why I like was now using my weekends to work. But other than that, he was quite chill about it. Like he knew that that's how it was here. I think that's a difference because my dad came to the UK and kind of like saw how things were here versus you guys who were just always in the Middle East, and like that was the complete norm for you there, you know?
Even though we were like, I personally was influenced by schooling and like by Western education, but there's still that like you live in an Arab country, so there is these certain ideologies that you go by, like why would you work at a young age? But this is very much changing now. Like a lot of teenagers are getting internships in the summers, are like, I'm talking 13, 14, are starting their own businesses, like doing little projects, which is, I mean, not little, but like going ahead and like executing cool creative projects. So I think that's awesome.
No, for sure.
So what cultural tradition would you definitely not want to pass down?
The one cultural tradition that I would definitely not want to pass down would be the what are people gonna say? I hate it. I actually can't stand it. I think people should be living true to them, true to what they believe is right, as long as they believe that they're acting in accordance with what they believe is morally correct, then nothing else should matter, you know? What people do is between them and God and no one else. And in terms of passing down to my children one day, inshallah, as long as, like I say, they're acting with a pure heart and with pure intentions, then whatever people want to say is what they want to say. Thankfully, again, what people say, like alhamdulillah, really hasn't been in my household, like the worrying of people are going to say this and that's aib and like don't do it because people are going to think this. But I think in general that idea is just something that I absolutely don't like, and we're very much the complete opposite to that. Like me and you, we couldn't be far removed from what people have to say.
Yeah.
Also, a point that I want to make is that often I think the people that are worried about what others are going to say are the ones that judge the most, and the reason that they are so afraid of what others are going to say is because they know what it feels like and what it's like to be on the judging end, and they know how hard they go in, and they know all the bits they point out where it's absolutely none of their business, that they would just hate for other people to do that to them. And I've seen that. I feel like the people that are the most insecure about others' opinions are the ones that judge. So yeah, I just would not want to pass that down one little bit, or even have my kids be concerned about what other people have to say, you know?
Yeah. Do you know, I just got a random thought. You know how like what people would say, it's kind of a Arab thing, like the concept of aib and all of that, and like what's your neighbor gonna say, what's your bawab gonna say. But then I just had a thought. I was trying to think, do Westerners think about what people are gonna say? And I think it's a very human thing, actually, because I just remembered, what's that show called, the real Housewives of Beverly
Hills.
What's it called?
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I watched one episode on a flight like a few years ago, just for entertainment purposes, and it was very much like concerned about like, oh, did you see, I don't know, she's cheating on her husband.
No, by the way, that's so different. That's so different because I feel like it's a global culture to sit and like talk about people, which we, oh my god, also cannot stand. Like, people can be really up in each other's business. That's not exclusive to Arabs at all. But where I think the difference is that people here would do it anyways, but in the Arab world, parents would often use it to be like, don't do that, what are the people gonna say? I feel like that's not so much here.
Yeah, don't study art. What are people going to say about us? Like, you're uneducated, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's very much a thing, as you were saying about your example with your mom. And, like, the only time that she was concerned about that was kind of from a safety perspective. It's kind of the same for me. Like, it's not like what are people going to say is not really a concept that we have in our house. The only time that it ever arose was when I came back from uni and I was kind of proposing the question of basically living by myself in Egypt. Just, bounce with my dad.
Test the water.
Knowing that it probably won't go well. But he was like, no, like you can't live by yourself in a flat in Egypt. And I was like, I've literally been living alone for 4 years, like by myself. Like, what's the difference? And it kind of like intertwined into what are people going to say, not because he's concerned about other people's opinions, but because of safety. Like if the guard of the building in Egypt knows that you live by yourself in that building, like safety issues arise and so on. So like I think that's the concern from my family, but there was never like, we never had that idea of like, don't do this because what are people going to say? It was like, don't do this because it might not be good for you.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can take all the good things from our culture. I think that's one thing that we are very lucky to have, especially as cultural misfits that have experienced multiple cultures. Like we can take the good from each, and there's good and bad everywhere. So yeah, hopefully we can take all the right little mixes from the right places.